Welcome to Holden Space. I'm your host, Holden. And yes, the pun is absolutely intended. This is the podcast where I hold space for literally anything. Deep thoughts, weird dreams, awkward moments, existential spirals at 2 a.m. Yeah, we got time for that. Think of it like a safe space meets a comfy couch meets a group chat that actually listens. No judgment, just vibes. And maybe a snack if you brought one. So grab your headphones, lower your expectations just slightly, and let's hold some space, or at least pretend we know what we're doing. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Hopefully everybody's having an absolutely amazing day. And if you're not, hopefully your day gets better. So today we are being joined by one of the sisters that found me on TikTok. She was, I would say, like one of my first followers on TikTok. She's like, "Oh my God, I love you, Holdy. You're my little unicorn. You're amazing." And me and her, of course, we exchange phone numbers, we FaceTime, we just kind of chill and get to know each other. And not in a halal way, we get to know each other.
Ron police, calm down.
So this is Angie. How are you, Angie?
I'm good. Walaikum salam, my little Yoon.
The little uni.
It's so funny because you're in my phone as Holdy Uni with a little unicorn. So
That's so cute. Listen, my Apple Watch literally used to have the unicorn emoji for like the day-to-day. Now it's me. Like literally I'm on my Apple Watch.
just put a horn on your forehead and it's fine. Photoshop a horn.
You know what? Let me not mention what I get suction cup to my forehead. So as you could tell, Ange and I are not the most conservative Muslims out there. But the thing is, all right, so before we jump into everything, what is the one question, when you tell people you're a revert, what is the one question you get asked the most?
Oh my gosh. The one question I get asked the most is, what made you want to be a Muslim?
Exactly. And that's where this episode comes into play. Literally, I made a 7-minute video on my TikTok explaining how I found Islam. And people are like, "Oh, that's beautiful, but Allah did it for you." Well, yes, I understand that. But if I told you that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought me to Islam, you would say, "No, what's the other details?" So
Right.
It's like, what do you want from me, bitch? So
Literally, it's like it's a double-edged sword. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm gonna try to keep this episode as halal as possible. But I'm gonna be true to myself, true Dean, baby. Because at the end of the day, like, Allah knows your heart, knows your intentions, and we're all like, working on ourselves.
Exactly. And I want to preface this, guys. So Ange and I are both reverts, okay? We're reverts in America. So we grew up very different than born Muslims or reverts in other countries. So please be mindful that we're still growing, we're still learning. And trust and believe, we still be twerking it out sometimes. And that's just,
Old.
you don't twerk anymore?
I can't. I have 3 kids. My back's blown out. Like, what? Like, I can't twerk anymore, but I used to be a twerker.
Your back's blown out, and that's how you got the 3 kids.
Let's not go there because there's a lot of things I could say about that.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Actually, so in Florida, in your state, is where I met my baby daddies. Never again will I go back to that place.
Oh my God, you have to come to Wilton Manors.
Oh my God, Wilton.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm gonna preface this. So, not preface the episode, but so I want to say this real quick. So I was at Juma yesterday, okay, and I was attacked by the imam. So he's talking about like hold on. He's talking about like people being mischievous, needing to find their way back to God, and he's like, "Just look at Wilton Manors. You already know what I'm talking about," because my city is very known for gay.
Oh.
And like he didn't say gay specifically, but he was like Wilton Manors, and then like I was like, this mother trucker.
Wait.
And then no. He didn't say my name.
That's wrong. They be doing that though.
So like 2 minutes later, he comes back to it, and he's like, Vegas, San Francisco, and Wilton Manors, they are plagued with diseases. And I was like, this? But then I was like, you know what? Listen, I can't be hateful. He did not say gay. So technically, he could just be talking about the alcohol, the drugs, the sexual stuff that happens in these cities.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe I just felt it because maybe Allah wanted me to hear that message.
Maybe he did. And you know what? It doesn't even matter, Holdy, because at the end of the day, I want to reference this too in this video. Muslim, what it means is submitting to God. Okay. So, like, we've talked about perception and perspective on the religion and everything like that. And, how you have to kind of find your own way through the religion, especially as a revert in America. Um, just because I don't submit to God the way you submit to God doesn't mean I'm any less than you. And I think that that's something that we need to talk about more, because I feel like the community feels like, even like with the hijab, like, you know what I mean? You're not wearing hijab, da, 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 bro, like, let's go back to the core of what it means. If I'm submitting to God by feeding the homeless every day and I don't have hijab on, what do you think is more important? You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And like this, like, I feel like we get so far away from the core of what it means to be a Muslim that we actually forget about the submission altogether, because we're so busy judging and whatever. And I just can't. That's what's been hard for me as a revert. I don't know about you.
You already know what it's been hard about me being a revert. I mean, that's a whole nother topic for another episode. When it comes to sexuality, sexual identity, gender identity, I mean, everything. There's so many different things. But as you said, like, I think people are so concerned with the detailed aspects of everything, of like, oh, you didn't put your right hand over your left hand. Oh, that's bad. And it's like, bro, like,
Calm
can
down.
we at least be thankful that we're at the masjid?
Yeah. Can we just like literally praise Allah? Can we like stop focusing on these minute details that I promise you, when you're on the day of judgment, Allah won't even bring that up. That part. He will be so happy you went to the masjid to congregate with your fellow Muslims. Alhamdulillah for that. He's not going to be like, okay, remember the time when you went to the masjid, Holdy? No, you could tell me about, remember the time that I was in the back alley doing something else, okay? Like, that's what he's going to bring up, broski. Like, I promise you.
He's not gonna bring up it like, oh, you didn't lower your gaze to this one
Right.
guy walking in the masjid.
Right. I mean, but
Maybe.
regardless, like, Allah is the most merciful, the most forgiving. And I feel like fellow Muslims, we need to remember that when we're approaching our fellow Muslims.
Exactly. No, 100%. So, all right. So the thing is, my reverse story is pretty straightforward. Okay. I went on a search for God, found God. I mean, it was
I'm
pretty,
that.
honestly, pretty easy for, and I think most reverts as well kind of have that similar experience.
Yeah.
So you had to deal with tragedy and trauma in order to find God and who God is to you. So why don't you just take it off on kind of like a 15-minute or so synopsis on kind of what you went through and what led you to find Islam?
Okay. So how I found Islam is actually pretty, I would say, um, pretty common to a lot of people as far as growing up Christian and then converting to Islam. So I grew up with a very religious household, blah, 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 like cult like. Okay. Christian school, Christian CDs, Christian flag, pledging allegiance to the Bible. Like, I'm not kidding you guys. Like, literally, like crazy. A lot of things happened. I was in foster care, I was adopted. I had a lot of situations, which is a whole nother thing, but whatever. Growing up was very hypocrisy with the things that happened to me. I ended up going to public high school, and then I kind of like completely went down the path of, rebel, because I was so sheltered. So this is really where I hopped on the haram.com highway, okay, in my high school years. And experimenting drugs, alcohol, the whole 9 yards, but like way worse than your normal 14, 15-year-old, going to clubs, like whatever, extreme, like craziness. And then through my adult years, I kind of continued, that I'm not going to go into too much detail because the judging is still so real on this platform. But as I got older, I just started doing things that like were not, I'm not going to say I was ashamed of them, because I'm not. But things that were not what I was capable of doing. Like, I was capable of more, you know what I mean? And then I had my kids. When I had my son, I was 24 when I got pregnant. So after that, I started kind of like changing my like outlook on life. Like I was like, I want to be a good example for my kids. My siblings and me were all separated at at birth and stuff because we were all adopted. And my parents were both drug addicts, alcoholics. So I was always like, if I ever have kids, I want to make sure that I'm the best mom possible. So I changed my outlook on that. Kind of started finding my way through all these other things. I was still going through trauma, still going through relationship drama, da da da. But I started working with a Muslim man. And he was the best man ever. Like he was the sweetest man. He was from Gambia. And he's the one who kind of introduced me to the religion, like in that aspect. Like I've been around Muslims before. My best friend's Muslim. She's from Egypt, in high school and everything like that. And I did date a Muslim years prior. But I wasn't like into it like that. So it was about like a 6 year search, little by little, going through what I was going through, talking to this guy, this man about Islam and working with him as a nurse because we were both nurses working at the same place. And then once I ended up getting with my kid's father, um, my my baby's dad, um, there was a lot of things that happened, and we were both talking about converting to Islam. Like we've talked about it for years, like since like 2017. And alcohol was a big reason why I decided to take the leap because my kid's father is an alcoholic. And I was like, you know what? Like, we've talked about this on and off for years. Why don't we just take the leap together? So it will help you with the alcohol too, because like we can't drink. I mean, people do, but you're not supposed to drink. And I feel like, the structure of it will really be beneficial for us. And long story short, I converted because I felt like it was the best thing for me and my kids. He did not. So I ended up moving out, and that's really ultimately what like put the cherry on top for me being a Muslim. And alhamdulillah, it's been a year now since I've taken Shahada, like just over a year. And I moved out of my kid's father's house 2 weeks after I took Shahada because I knew that was a sin to like, live with him. And he wasn't ready to convert, and he was still drinking and doing haram.com. And I really wanted to like take it seriously. And it's been hard, but it's been worth it, so that's like short story.
So the thing is with him, has he converted to this point today? It's been a year now.
No, so he's been in rehab. Actually, my daughter's a year and a half. He's been in rehab the majority of her life. We've had, oh my God, it's been such a crazy thing. But he learned about Islam. I put him onto Islam more, like, and he's learned a lot about it. He's watched debates. He knows a lot. We have discussions about it. But he doesn't want to convert. And I didn't know if he was just trying to like say he was going to convert so we could get back together. Because I told him, I said, even if you're sober, if you're not Muslim, like we're not going to get back together because I want to raise my kids in Islam and knowing, like, not the Trinity, like we can't have that confusion. And I truly believe that if you're a Muslim, for me, if you're marrying somebody, that you should be Muslim too. So you're not confusing the children. Um, Especially if it's like, I genuinely believe that because I think that it can cause so much unneeded conflict. And I know they say like the men can marry Christian and blah blah blah. Whatever. I just feel like let's just cut the shit and just Muslim on Muslim. And if I love this and I want them to know there's only one creator, one God, like we can't be on like Trinity and then monotheism at the same time, like. So he never converted, and I think he was just really learning about it, but only God knows, maybe one day, inshallah.
No, of course, and I think too, he's still somewhat in active addiction because, well, not active addiction, but he's in rehab, so he's still struggling. Especially
Yeah.
if you're in rehab for more than a year, and you're in the long term programs. And if anybody has dealt with addiction, long term programs, man, they're like Jesus based. Okay, you're not gonna find a Muslim based addiction recovery program out there. They're all going to be very faith based programs, especially the ones that are like a year and a half long. So he ain't girl. He getting Jesus shoved down his throat at this point.
Well, the thing that's funny that you say that is actually, so he's in the Navy. He's a lieutenant in the Navy. So the first, which was in January of this year, the first rehab detox center he went to, he was in Bahrain. So it's a Muslim country, right? So he was supposed to get deployed, And then he ended up having a mental breakdown because he was drinking. And they're like, well, we can't deploy you. So he was already over in Bahrain and he's going to go over to the, the Red Sea or whatever. And they put him in Bahrain, like a 30-day treatment center.
Wow.
So that was Muslim. So he had therapy and stuff in Islamic view. And that's another thing that I thought was like a lot, like showing him like, this is actually the good way to go, because he came home and was like, Angela, like, he was like, this is the best therapy I've ever had. And they're all Muslims.
Wow.
Out of all the, and he's been to rehab prior to that too, in treatment programs. But he said the way that they base their therapy is based off Islamic views. And that's the book I showed you.
Yep.
That he's the one who showed me that book.
Wow, I have that book. It's oh my god, guys, it's addiction. It's like the Islamic perspective. I'll have to like post it
The
and I'll
12
put it in the
steps,
bio.
12 steps of addiction, the Islamic view or
Yeah.
approach. It's so good. It is so good. You don't even have to be Muslim, but it's just like, it will make you think no matter what religion you are. But I just love the way it's like formatted out. It's so good. So yeah.
So becoming Muslim, I think, especially as a sister, there's this expectation that the moment you take your shahada, it's like, all right, you're a hijabi 100%. So, and there's always this hijabi versus non-hijabi online. So what is how long did it take you to go hijabi, and are you one full time?
Okay, so first of all, I just want to say this. Hijabi versus non-hijabi is absolutely ridiculous. It is the most petty thing I've ever heard and seen, and I disagree with it. And it's just, and Allah, I swear to you, does not care as much as you guys do. Like, it's so petty. So I don't even entertain that BS because it's just taking us away from the deen. But I was wearing hijab prior to being Muslim. Um, it was part of my style. Like, you know what I
Mm,
mean? Like, I was wearing head wrap, like, turbans, like that's my thing anyway. So it wasn't really hard for me to wear hijab. I wasn't wearing it like this, how I have it on now today. And I don't always wear my hijab like this. I wear it however I want to wear it. And I'm not a full-time hijabi. I was a full-time hijabi actually up until recently, where I started doing more research about the hijab and what actually about the whole religion, because it's so fast, you jump into it and you feel like you're just supposed to do all these things, but in reality I'm not supposed to do anything except for what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. And I had to take a step back and realize that. So I do wear hijab, I would say like 98% of the time, but there's a 2% time that I don't wear it. And that's like more like when my hair's wet and I want it to dry like naturally, or I want to go do something and I do want my hair out. So there's like a small percent that I don't. And I'm actually looking to not wear hijab as much, because what I've realized with the hijab is I get nervous if I don't have hijab on, because I
mm,
feel like people are going to judge me. And that is not the reason why I should be wearing the hijab. So for me, that's why I'm like, I need to start getting comfortable again with not wearing hijab and not worrying about man and worrying about Allah. So
mhm.
that's just my perspective. And I know some people are like, don't take it off once you start. Well, I already had it on prior. But even when I have it on, sisters are like, you're not wearing it the right way. You're not doing it. Like, and that's the thing that I'm like, you know what, bitch, shut up. Like, this is the type of shit that I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Like, this petty stuff. Like, why don't you embrace the fact that I'm even in your presence
Yeah.
asking questions about, Islam or whatever, and you're nitpicking because I'm not wearing my hijab this way. Meanwhile, your husband just got a second wife behind your back and he doesn't even work. So, like, you have bigger fish to fry. I'm sorry, hold. Was that too much?
No, because I know somebody that literally their friend got a second wife, has kids with both. They've been together for like 5 years. The second wife and the first wife has no clue.
And
No
that's
clue
what
about this.
men do. And it's so wrong. And they say, oh, well, technically you don't have to tell the first wife. This is my thing with that.
You can't even have a second wife without the permission of the first wife.
Well, so some people say they don't have to say it. So it depends. Like, this is why I stay clear of man-made BS, because it does not say that in the Quran. It does not say, it says to be honest and truthful and like good to your wife. So anything that's not honest and truthful is not following Quran. It's not
Yeah.
following Allah. So if you're doing stuff behind your wife's back, you can justify it with hadith or any BS you want to justify it with, but you're contradicting honesty and integrity, which is what the Quran preaches. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So these men who do this and these women who accept this, I mean, everyone is on their own journey, whatever, but it's complete BS. It is BS. And it's more of a cultural thing to twist the words of hadiths to justify your haram.coming.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, 100%. I mean, I don't like the thing is that even in America, it's weird. Is polyamory and is becoming very normalized.
It's been
So I
normal.
mean, I'm kind of surprised that they're like when they judge Islam, they're like, oh, well, you got 3 wives. Well, bro, you have a wife, but yet you're cheating on her with 4 other women.
Right.
What's the difference?
Exactly. And the thing is, and this is a good point too, like the reason why Allah made it okay for everyone to have like more than one wife is to protect the woman. That was genuinely the reason, because there was widows, it was a different time, and like that was the thing, you know what I mean? But nowadays, now it's like a one up, like how many wives do you have? But it's like, bro, you don't even, you want a second wife and you can't even take care of the first one, bro. You need a second job. Like, stop worrying about a second wife, broski. Like, I don't even understand. They're twisting it to like, and that's what a lot of the men in the community here in San Diego do. They like brag about having a second wife and a second family, but they're like living off welfare. And nothing against people who live off welfare, but I'm just saying it's the principle. It's the principle. Like, you're trying to like one up, but you're not even doing the first one the correct way. So it's like I
Yeah.
can't even fathom
All
the
right,
be.
so let's go come back to you and your journey, because listen, we could go on and on and on
Yeah,
about
you're right. Yeah, let's go. Let's get back because I will go off on these people.
so what is, let's see, what is like the biggest struggle as a revert? Say your first month of reverting, you took your shahada, and now what was like the first hurdle that you had to cross over?
My first hurdle was feeling the pressure of having to do everything correctly. And just like all the information and trying to filter out like what it, and it's always a learning process. You'll always learn. That's the biggest struggle for me personally, because I just was doing stuff, and I talked about this in one of my videos on TikTok. It's called like the revert rewind, where you get in there and you're like balls to the wall, and then all of a sudden you have to take a step back and be like, okay, is this even like is this even what you're supposed to do as a Muslim, or is this like what they want you to do? Is this like a cultural thing? Is this like really part of the religion? Is this Sunnah, or if you want to follow Sunnah, or is it this? You know what I mean? So you kind of like take a step back, rewind, and remember why you're doing the things you're doing. It should be for nobody except for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
See,
So
what's so funny, I talked about wearing a thobe on TikTok, and I was like, oh, should I wear a thobe? Like, I know it's considered sunnah.
you look so,
Literally,
oh, by the way, you're like a Thobi. You are a Thobi, boo. And
I want to be.
I love you in a thobe. But
You
do it.
should listen. You should see the new one coming in.
I can't wait.
So excited. Okay, so but the comments, the amount of comments, I was like, oh yes, it's sunnah. No, no, that's not what the prophet wore. He wore shalwar like a kameez style, which is like the long shirt with the pants.
Right.
And so the thing is, even the Muslims don't know.
The Muslims don't know half the stuff they're talking about. Oh, that's what I've come to realize. They don't know because they don't really even know. So many don't know even what is what. They do it because they think they're supposed to, or because somebody said, the scholar said to do it. But you're
Well, I
still
think that's where it's cultural difference.
right.
Because I think if we go to the scholars, pull scholars from 5 different Muslim countries, in different regions, they're going to say something different.
Right.
I know.
Job. It's the same thing.
I know that there's a scholar, I can't remember his name. He's like the old white guy. Well, not white, but he's the old guy.
Scared?
Yes. He's so funny. But people are starting to kind of go against him because they are seeing that he's putting a lot of his personal cultural beliefs into what he's saying. Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not trying to dog anybody. I'm not trying to state what he says is wrong by any means, because I think he's putting a lot of good out there. But if we're going to be teaching Islam, we need to teach Islam. That's it. No bias, no hatred, no cultural anything behind it. You have to teach Quran and authentic hadith. Because if you want to pull the hadith that's inauthentic, we could, you know what? Let me not go down that road.
Podcast.
Because there's one specific hadith that gets brought up in my lives quite often that all the Muslims want to ignore. Because I'll tell you on the outside.
Okay, tell me on the outside. Because these people are crazy with these CDs. Like, I can't.
Because it's about the Prophet, so I don't want to like spew get a lot of hate on this, but they want to ignore that hadith, but then want to bring in the other hadiths that support their bias and support their hatred that are also proven inauthentic.
That's what they all do, because they're hypocrites, and may Allah guide us all to the right path.
Yes, exactly. So talking about right path, what was one of your favorite things that you have found on this path in the last year?
I would say the how do I want to even word this? Every situation that I pray about, I've seen that Allah has answered it. Genuinely. Even if I'm just walking and being like, Allah, please give me the guidance for this situation, for this. Every single time I have it, like, there's no way that it hasn't been God. You know what I mean? And I've seen it clearly. And when they say, if your heart is in the right place and you're genuine about your beliefs and like your faith, it doesn't matter if you're slacking in other areas, and everyone, you know what I mean? God is going to deliver. Literally, I could go on with these examples, but like, because I like recorded them prior to TikTok, my experiences, and I'll post them, maybe I won't, because there's just so much judgmentalness on TikTok where I just can't handle it. Because
the judgment, that like the comments, it helps boost your views.
It does, but it's more of the fact that it it leaves a bad taste in my mouth right now, and I want to go off on people, and I'm trying to be like very respectful, but I want to tell people about themselves, because I have a mouth on me. I'm from New York. Like, I literally have said what I say what I want, but I'm trying to not do that. But I have to just remember, like, everybody's on their own journey, and only Allah can judge me. But every little thing that I've asked for prayer about, Allah has showed me, like, and the list goes on. So that has boosted my iman and my faith, like, knowing like this is the right thing for me,
That's beautiful. I mean, I think one of the things that I deal with a lot of stress at work, and I deal with a lot of chaos. And on my way to work, sometimes I would say like 70% of the time, because listen, I still like to be bumping it to some Gaga and Beyonce and stuff. So in the Lemonade album, but most of the time, I will throw on the Quran.
Yes.
And even though I don't know what it's saying,
right,
it brings such an immense amount of peace.
It really does. Like the aura, like it's just. And whatever it is, like the thing that I love about the Quran, like when you play Quran, and I listen to a lot of lectures in the car, and I listen to a lot of Quran, even though I don't know what it's saying, I read Quran every day. So no matter what it's saying, I know it's beneficial to me, even if I don't understand it in Arabic on the thing. But I do listen to it in English on, like, because I do Islam on Demand, which I don't know if you've heard of. It's on Apple. And it's like, oh my gosh, you have Islam on Demand is like my SHIT. It's like I put that on and I just like let it play. And like it's like lectures, it's just amazing. Wow. Like I literally love it. So you should download Islam on Demand, and I just like let it play. And like I know a lot of people are like, oh, Munti Monk is not good or whatever, but I love Munti or Menti or whatever his name is. I love his motivational speeches, and I think he's so like down to earth. And I don't agree with everything he says, because I think a lot of it is cultural coming from him. But the core of it, you don't have to be Muslim to connect. He just is a good like TED talker. Like, you know what I mean? Like he's a vibe.
The one person, I don't know if he's considered an imam. I don't even think he's an imam. But anyways, he's been on like a lot of the Christian Muslim debates on TikTok. Ali Dawa.
You like him?
No, absolutely not.
Please don't get me started with that man, because he is leading the Ummah in the wrong direction, broski. The fact, like, I can't even. The fact that you can get on TikTok and say you're one of a big promoter and then sit there and backbite the entire time and then basically put down an entire gender. let's not go there.
The only thing that was shocking to me is having your wife speak through a whiteboard.
So it's funny you say that because I actually watched that episode and I just found him recently because like the Aya girl popped up my thing and like, God bless her because she gets so much hate and I don't disagree with what she says because she's right and that's her truth. And people might say, well, she shouldn't be doing that. Okay, well, guess what? We shouldn't be having a situation where she should be even be able to talk like that because like the men treat people like this and especially in this religion. It's a thing that happens every religion, but this is a thing and people don't want to talk about it. So people need to leave her alone and let that woman breathe. But the thing is about him, the whiteboard thing. So I was on his live the other day and oh my gosh, it was so cringy. It was so cringy. It was so cringy. But he was telling us about the wife saying that that was her choice. She didn't want to talk. That and like I can't force her to talk. Like you want me to abuse her? I can't force her to talk. She didn't want to. So I wanted her opinion. So she said it was her idea with the whiteboard.
No.
So and maybe that's true. Maybe it's not only Allah knows, but at the end of the day, that man, that I pray for his wife because he is so embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I with the whiteboard and I was like, oh, that was her choice. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
She could sit there and say on this podcast, oh, it was my choice, but at the end of the day, you don't know what kind of conversation they had in the car and on their way there, whatever it may be. So he just and the thing is for me, when I first kind of reverted, I started looking into all the Christian Muslim debates.
Yes.
And I was like, ooh, this is so good. And I love this. But you know what? It really depends on are you watching the Muslims channel? Are you watching the Christians channel? Because the way they edit things.
Yep.
Because when I go to the Christians channel, it's the same thing. It's like, oh, what? And they try to make the Muslim look stupid. And on the other way, on the Muslims channel, they're making the Christian look stupid. And the thing is, they're yelling back and forth. And I'm just like, number one, I believe in the Quran. It says like if we're gonna educate, we have to educate like adults. Gently. Like we are not to force it. So why are we screaming at somebody in the middle of a park? I've seen one of them put their hands on somebody, and don't be wrong, it was in self-defense, but beside the point. Like this is not how we need to spread Islam. I understand TikTok can be used because TikTok is a huge platform, but like positivity, like me as a new revert coming on a TikTok, literally making a video yesterday about, oh, I wonder what the Muslims at the masjid think about me being a white male coming in a thobe. Are they looking at me saying, oh, that's beautiful, mashallah? Or are they looking at me like, why is this white man in a thobe when this is cultural, not religious? And I have like 5 comments that you can't be gay and Muslim. This video
I commented on that guy. I commented on the guy who said that to you. Like I commented on that guy. This video's
not even about me being gay.
And you're like, who said I'm gay? I could, you know what? I'm bringing in I'm not bringing in New York vibes.
So, but that's what I'm saying. It's like people put their foot where their mouth is not needed. And things like I bring up other people that have came on my live that speak very gently, kindly, ask questions, try to educate using the Quran or the Hadith, and like I'm okay with that. The thing is, that's how we learn is education. Not accusing, not slandering, not talking trash, not belittling, and not trying to tell somebody that just found God that they can't believe in God.
Right. It's absolutely ridiculous. And one of the things, and it's raining here in California, and it never rains, and we're having a bunch of rain. So random. I'm in my car, but I just wanted to share. It's raining, alhamdulillah. We need the rain in Cali. But so what I would say about those people, it makes me effing mad. And that's why I had to take it. Lately, I haven't been on TikTok as much. I've been kind of off of it because the audacity of these people. This is what I just want to say, and I'll leave it at this. The biggest sin in Islam is shirk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Partnering yourself or others with Allah. When you are judging and telling somebody what they cannot do, you are partnering yourself with Allah because He is the only one that can judge. You are doing the biggest form of shirk there is. And I just want people to remember that. Are you God? You're not. You're not even, you're nowhere near. You're not even near to the prophets, nothing. Sit down and look in the mirror and That's the only sin that he will not forgive is shirk. So I really want people to remember that when they're sitting there judging, telling people what they should do, what they shouldn't do, what they can do, what they can't do. You're going to go to hellfire. Da, da, da. You're doing the biggest form of shirk, people. There's a way to do it. There's a way to educate, like you said, da, da, da. But when you're literally saying, oh, you do this, you can't do this, you're not God. You don't know what I
Yeah.
can do. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Exactly. And that's the thing, especially when the people are like, you can't go to Jahannam or Jannah. You could
Like they're
definitely
the
go to Jahannam.
gatekeeper. Like they're the
Yeah.
gatekeeper of like sit down. What?
Okay. So at the beginning of the episode, of course, you kept your reverse story pretty short and sweet, which is good. But I know you shared with me some trials and tribulations that you had to fight through. And I think a lot of women don't talk about this enough. So I want you to touch on um, you don't even have to say the person's name, but I know that you went through an abusive relationship. So for anybody listening that may have gone through this, like how did you get out of that relationship and build up the strength to be able to walk away?
Okay, so I'm really glad you talked about this. And like I've been through, to be honest, every relationship I've been through in my life prior to Islam, which I'm a new Muslim, has been abusive. Either physical, more emotional, like physical more when I was younger, but as an adult, more emotional abuse, which to me is worse than physical abuse because you play with your mind and like you can't get out of your head. You know what I'm saying? Your bruises can heal on your body, but in your brain, like you're always going to be in your head. So emotional abuse to me is like worse. And I think because with I have two kids' fathers. My older two have the same dad, and then my baby has, whatever the other dad. And this most recent one, I think what made it so easy for me to leave is finding Islam, knowing that God gives us what we need and what we want on his timing and what's better for us. And it's really just like having the faith that whatever God is showing you, like whatever, if you're asking for signs or you're asking, like, because I went through a lot of bullshit, which but I'm not going to go into all that because that's a whole 10-day talk. He showed me what I needed to show, like he needed to show me. And I think what was easy for me to get out that situation is knowing, like, I know that I don't deserve this. And I know like this is not acceptable for my kids. And I know that Allah has given me every opportunity, every resource to be in this country to get out of this situation and using the resources and not just like, well, Allah will do it. Like, no, we have to put in the work too. Like, you know what I'm saying? We can't just say, like, yes, Allah does it, but to just sit there and not utilize the resources that he's given us that's right in front of our face is kind of like a slap in the face to him because we're put in these positions where we either can make something happen or we cannot. Like, some women cannot leave. You know what I'm saying? And I can. And just having the faith that knowing that, like, okay, it can only go up from here. And if I have faith in Allah, I know it will be okay and he will get me through. And I think that like those things that happened during that time, which I literally can't even make up, were were like, I don't know. It's just like God was telling me, like, if you don't get out of this situation when I'm giving you the opportunity and use Islam, which I really would, that was the deciding factor is me saying Shahada. I was like, I can't live with a man, not married. And what he was doing with the drink and everything. And I was like, this is like, I cannot grow as a Muslim. I cannot develop in my rose if I'm literally sitting here in this shaitan house, bacon being fried, freaking alcohol, watching baddies every day. Like, and this is my baby dad. Like, my kids have never even had pork prior to me moving in with him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all this shaitan, haram.com. I knew that I could not continue with this. So for me, it was like Allah giving me like all the signs that are right there and knowing that if I want to prosper, I need to like take this seriously and listen to what it says not to do. And it's been a struggle financially because I live in California. I'm a single mom, but it has not been emotionally as bad as it was. Like, does that make sense? I don't know.
No, 100%. Because listen, guys, Being a single mother is not easy, let alone like in the state of California where a one bedroom apartment costs you your right arm,
Oh my god.
or your left testicle. So,
Nothing included for my place.
well, I know, well, me, like I thought my 2K for my unit was too much. You're almost double
And I
that.
got a good deal. I got a good deal too. Like, I really did. I have a house and that's like
Oh, yeah,
so
okay.
but it's in not a great neighborhood, but not the worst. But alhamdulillah, I have a house.
Yeah, I was about to say that we have a roof over our head. We have to be
Yes.
grateful for what we have. Um, but the thing is, for anybody listening that may not even be Muslim or not have any belief, the thing is, pray, whatever it is, whatever's listening, whether it's God, Allah,
Higher power.
Jesus, Baba Ganesh, or whatever. What is the
A
the,
freaking
the,
plant.
the
Whatever.
Hindu God, whatever it is?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, I
The
know who you
universe, whatever it is, will eventually hopefully give you that answer
yeah.
and give you that strength that you need to be able to exit that relationship. Because nobody, I don't give a shit whether you're a piece of shit human or whether you're not. Nobody deserves to be in an abusive relationship, whether it's emotional or physical. Nobody deserves to be in that.
Yeah.
Period.
And it's funny, hold. I just want to say this too because I was on a podcast a couple weeks ago that this woman reached out to me and she was like, I was in a narcissistic abuse like the groups on Facebook. She found me
Hmm.
on there and like she was like, what I do to pick people for my podcast is I go on all these groups like abuse, mental abuse, relationships, like healing or whatever, and then I read the comments and she said, I saw you commented on a lot of the
Oh.
people's things, like giving them good advice, and it looked like where you were in your journey, like you were healing and you weren't giving bitter advice, you were giving like empowerment advice. So I
Hmm.
felt like it would be a good person to put on my podcast because where you were in the healing and you were like logical. So she picked me out and we actually did the podcast a couple weeks ago. It's on YouTube. I'm not gonna like share the link because it gets crazy, but I'll show you, but I'm not going to share
Okay,
the because it's like my whole life story and like
it's a lot.
yeah, it's a lot. But I was telling her like we were talking about the abuse and I was like, we have to look back and see like we want to blame as people. No matter it doesn't matter if you're a woman, man, whatever. And it doesn't even have to be like abuse, right? Like it could be like your job, you're not happy with your job, it could be like your relationships with your parents, whatever. We blame everybody else about the abuse and woe is me, but we never look in the mirror and take self accountability and realize when we go through these things, whatever it is that we're stressed about, and then we like filter into like other people's lives. Like for example, if I'm calling you and I'm bitching, which I do all the time, like you know what I mean? Like I'm venting to you, and it doesn't affect you like the way because we like are on like a lighter, level. But like your parents or your loved ones, your sisters, your brothers, your friends, you're sitting there and you're burdening them with all of this stuff, yet you're sitting there and like not doing anything about it. So we're causing them all this stress, all this drama, and then we're not doing anything about it. So really, like, who's the abuser? Is it the person that we're complaining about or the job, or is it us? We're abusing ourselves. We're abusing our loved ones because it's affecting us. We have to look in the mirror and take accountability. And really, like, once I did that, and like, because I never told my parents what was going on because, like, they've seen me through the ringer and they, like, it's not their, I'm a grown woman. I make these decisions. This was my choice. So, like, I'm very private when it comes to, like, my relationships. I don't, like, go and tell my parents and all this, whatever. Like, my best friend knew about it, whatever. But I had to take a look back and just like, I'm abusing myself because I'm choosing to stay. I'm choosing to tolerate this. So I'm the abuser. I cannot blame this man anymore. He has nothing to do with my conscious effort. Allah has given me the signs. Allah has given me the resources. Allah has given me everything I need to do to remove myself from the situation, but I'm choosing to stay. That's my problem. I'm the abuser. I'm putting this on my kids. I'm putting this on my loved ones. So I think it's important to like look in the mirror and take accountability in that way.
100%. And that's a really unique outlook on it as well. So, I mean, I know that when it comes to that aspect of your life, that could be a 3, 4, 5 hour episode
Right.
regarding everything coming out. So, I wanted, of course, to keep this light and focused on how you got out of it and how it brought you closer to God. So, the thing is, so before we end the episode, is there anything you would like to share with everybody that you have not yet?
You know what? Yeah, I don't know if I didn't share this, but I just want to say, like, you guys, make sure you're true to yourself. This journey in life, none of it matters, right? Like it all the stuff that we're sitting here on TikTok and we're like, getting ourselves all worked up about a freaking Starbucks bear cup, a freaking way we're wearing hijab, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like the way you listen to music, you play, whatever it is. None of this matters, okay? This is not the end goal. The end goal is Jannah, and the end goal is just to continue to try and be better than the day before. And focusing yourself and what Allah, like, go back to Allah, go back to the Quran. Like, let's not focus so much on what man says, whether that's a scholar, whether that's the companion of a companion that could have said this, maybe said that, da 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 da, whatever it is. Let's just go back to the core and just know that, like, we have one creator and one person who is, or not even a person, one that is, able to judge us and do whatever, and we get our answers from one person. So we just need to remember that. And I think if we just go back to that, our journey will be a lot more, efficient and
A lot smoother.
a lot less stressful. And Holdy does so good. He makes so light of everything. And like he does so good with the comments, and and I get mad. So I have to, like, I can't, because if I tell you about yourself, I promise you will never want to talk to me again. So I have to be very mindful. So sometimes I have to just take a break because I'm just like, bro.
My comment section makes you mad.
Bro, it literally gets my blood boiling. But it's like, that's anger. I know it's from Shaitan. And when I take a step back, I'm like, only Allah can judge. Why am I arguing with these people who are creating the biggest form of shirk? Why? Like, why?
It's not worth it. To me, that's what I've learned. I'm like, man, it's just why? It's not worth it.
It's not.
But all right, girl. Well, I do appreciate you waking up at the crack ass of dawn. Listen, guys, 3-hour time zone difference. I got shit to do today. And so she woke up at 7 a.m. to come on.
I was actually up earlier than that. I usually wake up at 5 because my kids go to school at 6 a.m. and then 7 a.m. So they go to different
6 a.m. for school?
6:15.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So I'm up early, but I took sleeping pills last night. So I did sleep till like 6:47. So that's late for me.
All right, girly. Well, I do appreciate you coming on.
Yes, I love you, Holdy, and all the new Muslims, old Muslims, whatever. Just focus on Allah. It'll all be okay. And F the haters. You know what I'm saying? Like,
all right, friends. That's all the space we've got for today. Thanks for hanging out. Remember, the vibes are always free and the overthinking is complimentary. If you laughed, learned, or just felt slightly less alone in your chaos, hit the follow and stick around. There's always more space to hold. Until next time, take care of yourself, drink some water, and remember, we're all just winging it, but at least we're doing it together on Holden Space. If you want more ways to connect, please check out the link in the bio.